Hello and welcome. In previous session, we have seen a basic implementation of application context, and using the context, we were able to create an instance of a particular class. So in Spring, application context is the main entry point. Before doing anything, you create an application context and internally it create all the dependencies for use. Okay. So currently we are not automatically writing those dependencies or classes. Only when you are doing the get, that time only we are creating the dependencies. So in this lecture, we will try to see if we can reach a stage where automatically application context on creation able to figure out what classes needs to be initiate or initialize. Cool. But before going that, let's just run this application. We saw in previous session that, for example, offer service is getting created twice. Why? Because we are creating booking service that is creating booking service and internally creating those classes. Then we are creating cancellation service that internally need booking service. So a different instance of booking service is getting created. We don't want that. So let's just do one thing. Let's see if there is, okay, the equal is not implemented here. So what I'll do is I'll say generator getter will return the booking service, and we have one booking service here. Let's do this. Same instance of booking service is used. Else, as out different instance of booking service is used. Cool. Let's just run this. So we can see the different instance of booking service is used. It is not the same instance. Our job is to make sure those beans are creating only once and getting reused. Otherwise, it will be difficult. One is thing is it's inefficient. We are creating a redundant instance of a class. Second thing is, for example, if that bean is creating database connection, then we are creating multiple database connection. Ideally, we want one database connection to be there. So based on the use case also, we might get into trouble if we are creating multiple instances of a class. So let's do one thing. Let's fix this. So we need some sort of caching. So anytime we are creating an instance, we need to remember it. We need to cache it and next time reuse it instead of creating again. So what we want is we want to say something like this. If this dot cache, uh, if first let's create the cache private final hash map of the string to object, we call it cache. Okay, and initializing constructor. Okay, anytime you're creating the instance of a application context, we will create an instance of cache. Now if this dot cache contains key will be my the type name, then I will do this dot cache dot get. Cool. So if it is in cache, we will not create an instance of it. We will return the cached object. Now we need to do one more thing. I'll add some logging, returning from the cache. Okay. Now every time we are creating an instance, we will store that in cache. So here, instead of returning, we will return, but we will first put that into the cache. Add it in cache. Okay, cool. Now let's run this. You can see same instance of booking service is used and returning booking service from the cache. So now instead of recreating it, we are using the cached object. Okay, now that is fine. One thing is, currently when we are saying dot get, then only we are creating an instance of a class. But ideally in Springboot, we want as soon as the application context is created, all these classes to be getting initialized on their own. Okay, and not all the classes. We want specific classes to be created. So I'll do two things. In Spring, there's a annotation that people use to tell, okay, Spring, you take care of creating this bean when application start. You manage this bean for me. So I'll create a package called annotation. I'll create the annotation component type annotation. Okay. This is the annotation. Now, anytime I want to hint that I want a Spring to take care of my class to create a bean, I have to annotate that particular class with the component. Only those classes Spring will touch, rest of the other thing it will not touch. So let's say in repository, I'll say add component. Cool. And at what time I want to retain this component. So something called retention, which tell the Java, do we want it to retain at the runtime or not? By default, it will be written only in the compile time. But most of our work we do at runtime. So in Java, sorry, in Spring, mostly we do stuff at runtime. So we want it to be available at runtime. So runtime, we want it to be available. Also, where do we want it to be annotated? For example, I don't want to say something like this. It is currently allowing. What does it means to create an instance of a method that we don't want? We want it, limit it to be used only at the class level. Okay. So I'll say target element type dot field method constructor parameter type. At type level only we want to use it. So then where for we doing this application content, right? Now if I try to do this, it will show error. Component not applicable to method. You can't use it at method level. Okay. So now we have annotation using which we can tell, hey, we want Spring to take care of this particular class. We have used it at booking repository. Now, if we want to move to the Spring path, we want this class to be automatically created whenever we are creating the application context. So that means at runtime, when an application is running, I need a power to look for all the classes in my class path which are annotated with this particular annotation, and then I can create the instance of this. Okay. Let me pause the recording for a. Okay. To get that superpower of at runtime, searching for the classes annotated with a particular uh, annotation, I'll use a library called Burning Wave. This has many use cases. Uh, let's use this. Let's go to download. What we want is the core. Okay, let's see grader. Let's take this. Let's come back to our project. Let's add this dependency. Okay, downloaded. Okay, there's some issue in dependency. Maybe it is not able to find out why. Or this is fine. Or burning wave core 12. Okay, made mistake here. Refresh. Now it is able to figure out. I don't know why it is still showing red. Maybe some caching issue. Fine. Okay, now let's see how to use this. Let's go back, go back. Okay, let's go to get started. What do we want? So here they ask, they have many use cases. What we want is annotation, finding all annotated class. So this is the use case we have. Okay, so here's the example they have shown. Okay, they have a finder class which create a component container. Some helper they create, then something called class hunter they create, and then the they give a path, get main class path. Here you add all the absolute path you want. Okay, so here basically you are telling from this class path or from this path start searching for the annotated class. Okay, then create, then you say like it has annotation and annotation length is this much without considering parent. Okay, okay, let's start coding. So here we want, let's say, class scanner, and we want uh public static. We want a list of classes, an array of classes. uh get all component classes. Okay, what is the problem? Modifiers. Okay, at wrong place. For getting the syntax, okay, public static, then type. Okay, so the problem was the type. Get all component classes, no parameter, or maybe the parameter of from where to start looking for the uh what do you say? From where do you want to start looking to string root path? So let's say if I define root path as repository, so only anything inside the repository will be looked for. If I'm saying IRCTC, so anything inside the IRCTC and children will be looked org, then anything inside org. Okay. So now we want to say component container component, component container, get instance, say container, then get path helper. Path helper, then class hunter. Okay, we have class hunter. Now we are creating something called search config. Search config for paths, and within the path helper dot get main class path. What does it take? Uh, should be it take a collection or a single string. Okay, so probably this. Then by class criteria dot create, class criteria dot create. Okay, dot all those that matches, and then you get the class. So the class. So what do you want to say is annotation present? Which annotation? Component dot class, this annotation. So we will search for all the classes which are annotated with component class. Cool. And you get the search config. Okay. If you don't want all these different parameters, just get the search config. And then we say class hunter dot find by search config. So class hunter find by search config. What does it return to us? It return as something called search result. Okay, so if you do get classes, it will return all the classes. Okay, so it's a collection, and we are saying single class. So it's not single class. Okay. Cool. So this will return all the classes. So quickly, let's try this. Let's comment out all this. We want to say class scanner get all components, and here the root path org dot learning dot irctc. But we got some error. Let's see what is the error. Okay. Okay, stopping on thread. Looks like here is some error. The null pointer exception. Exception occur while trying to compute convention absolute path for this. Okay. So probably this is not the way to give the path. Okay. Okay. So let's go back. Let's use what they were using, get main class path. Then later we will see how to fix our thing. Path helper get main class path. Good, working fine. But how do we know we got anything? Oh, here is what our booking repository. I'll do one thing. Now it will be easy to figure it out. Okay, between these two also, there's so many locks. So let's just take this into variable, move it up. Now, push. Only one class is annotated with component, so it came. Now let's say if we add it here also, refresh. Now too. So now we have control over what we want Spring to find. Okay. So now we have that capability. So now let's integrate it in our DI, so that anytime we creating a new instance of application context, it automatically figure out this component and it create them. Cool. Okay, so let's go to this, and here application context cache is created, and then we want to do that. So I'll do one thing. Now cache, let's take it from here. Hash map a string comma object and cache. And instead of public, we will make it private. Public static application content, let's call it init, and it will return you new application context of hash map. Okay, let's go to IRCTC and fix that. Okay, we are currently not using it, so it's fine. Okay, so it will create the application context, but before returning, uh, we want to let's call this get instance. We want to call an init. Void init. Now init will be the method which will root for all the classes, and it will create those instances. So class scanner, all components. Now we need to give the path. Let's keep it dummy for now. We will fix this problem later. We have classes. Okay, now we want to create instances of all these. Now what we can do is for classes, we'll say okay. Okay, let's say get, and class we have found here. So one by one we will create all these classes. Cool. Okay, let's go to IRCTC. We don't need this. Now this will cry because it's no longer this. Okay. Now as soon as we run this, we should see those classes getting created. Creating instances of this, creating instance of this, because only two of them we have annotated, so only two of them we are getting. Now let's do one thing. I don't want people to call get from outside, because here they can provide class, right? So anything which is not even annotated with component, that also they can call. So instead of that, I'll make it private, and for getting I can have something called public, or like private from the usage application contact dot get get theme, and what are the service we created, booking repository, right? Let's get booking repository dot class, and it should return us booking repository. Cool. And say booking, let's just call that. All of this we will okay. So this dot cache dot get being class dot get name, and we need to typecast, and we need to suppress the warning. Cool. So this public method will just look into the cache. If there is a class present in the cache, it will return. It will not going to create it, because creation logic we are going to give only within the init. Okay, let's go to IRCTC. Let's run this, and now we are able to get. What happen if I try to get something which is not there in application context? So get pin, let's say, um, cancellation service dot class. The cancellation service is none. So anything which is not annotated with at the rate component will not come into the picture. Okay, so let's say what happen if I say, uh, let's go here. I'll say make this a component, but see, it need booking service to be present, but booking service is not component. So what happened when I try to do something like this? Now we are getting cancellation service is not null. So it is able to create instance of this, but in real Spring, Spring does not create instance of this if it is not meant to be handled by string. If component is not annotated in the Spring service, which is this case, then Spring does not create an instance of this, even if it is getting used as a parameter in a constructor of some other component. So let's handle that. So we are trying to create a component which is not a component. So what we'll do is, let's say, and here we can say instance of this to create instance, mark it as a component using component. Okay, or maybe instead of doing all this here, I can say being creation error, not a component, and I'll just pass this create class. Do I have error? Oh, no, I don't have error, so I'll just create it here and extend and okay. It's a runtime exception. And why is it saying to define this later? Class or unchecked do not need to be declared in a method or constructor throw clause. It can be thrown. Okay, maybe because of this. Now I don't need to declare it into the method signature. Okay, so now if it is not a component and we are trying to create an instance of it, then we should get error. Cool. We are getting error, but we don't see error. Okay, error is here. Java util missing format argument etc. Oh, sorry, I missed stating this. So class dot get name. Now let's run this. Error. Let's go and see the message. Okay, thread in this beam creation exception cannot create instance of booking service. To create instance, mark it as a component using @component. Okay, so booking service, it marked it as a component. Let's run this. Now we will keep doing it till we get the rid of error. Now what is happening? Now station service is not a component. So let's make this a component. Run again. Now I can try to become intelligent and try to add component to every class, but let's not do that, because if something is there which I don't want to be component, I might end up making it component. So let's go by error. It will take some time, but a better thing to do is follow the error, do the necessary change required to fix that error. So now payment service, it need to be a component. Okay, I made it a component. Now cannot create instance of payment gateway. Okay, and this is one thing you need to get comfortable with seeing error in Spring. A lot of the stuff happen at runtime, and runtime multiple things can go wrong, and you will always end up seeing error like this. Try to see the error, make sense of it, and do the necessary changes. Here it is mentioning that you need to mark it as a component if you want to create an instance of this. So let me just follow the instruction. Now discount service, offer service, user service, user repository. Okay, now finally, to create an instance of IRCTC, what instance cancellation service, whatever is required for cancellation service, we have mentioned them as a component so that Spring can create instance of them. Cool. So this is how even your real application context in Spring works. You create an instance of it and it manages everything for you. Okay, I think this is enough for this session. We'll cover other topics in the next session. Probably we'll try to do few stuff. For example, I don't like this logging. There's so many logging coming from the burning wave. So probably we'll try to see if we can turn them off. The other thing is, as of now, a dirty fix we have added for the scanner is empty path. We'll try to figure out how we can get the path for our application. We should be able to tell I want to be only repository package to be under the control of Spring to look for the component. I don't want it to look for everywhere. Okay. So that is another thing. Now, what else do we want to cover? Let's go to IRCTC. Okay, I think probably those two and few more stuff we will see from the Spring domain. Cool. Let's close this.